What about you? Get your ticket out yet?
I hear the government's sealing a deal.
Yeah, I definitely think I would have freaked out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a complete existential crisis of like, where am I? How is this happening?
This is it. Trust me.
You know I do.
What's up, everyone? I'm Stella Chung. Today, I am joined by Minji Chang, who is Songbird's voice actress. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Stella. I am recovering, getting my health back, but I'm really excited to be here. This has been such a crazy ride so far. So yeah, excited.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, first of all, I'm loving Phantom Liberty. It is so fun. So I want to ask you, because I know that you have some camera acting experience. So what was it like going from camera acting to voice acting a character in a video game?
I actually have been trying to wrap my head around that because I've been doing commercial voice acting for years at this point. So even transitioning from on camera to doing voiceover for that, and then going from commercial to video game, I didn't know that it would be such a big leap and like be so different and be so nuanced and so like physically taxing. It's been like a really crazy journey, technically, even to like get familiar with how to do the video game thing with all the efforts and like the microphone positioning. It's been like, I'm just learning on the job, but it's so much fun. I have loved it so much.
Yeah, so I'm curious, did you play any Cyberpunk before you got the role of Songbird?
Actually, no. The story of me getting the role, I mean, I want to figure out how to like share it, but I think it's really funny because I was so unfamiliar with everything video game related. And I'd heard whispers of this. I knew this, it wasn't like, I just didn't know what it was, but it was a familiar word. So when I found out that I was a character in it, I feel really, Pierce O'Toole, our amazing director. I love you, Pierce. You're amazing. When he told me the news, I feel really bad to this day that it just didn't land with me. And I was in the middle of producing and like creating my first short film. So my brain was in another place and I didn't kind of react as, I think, excitedly as I think he hoped. But once it clicked and once I figured out what it was and I realized that I was in this insane, the same world and game, it was really exciting. But no, long story of no, I had never played the game before. I wasn't familiar with like any of the world.
So for me, I'm always really happy to see a fellow Korean woman getting a very prominent role in video games or just any major media. So was Songbird originally Korean, or did you getting cast as her role, did that kind of shape her character into So Me?
It was Korean American from the get-go. And I remember that detail. I don't even remember how I knew that, if that was in the description, but I kind of gleaned it too from her name. And I just remember knowing that it was Korean American, and I was being really excited about that because that's just like, you get all these little clues about what world are you entering when you're doing this character. And that was really exciting to me. So yes, she was from the beginning, and that helped me kind of, I don't know, connect in a different intrinsic way to her.
Yeah, of course. So, okay. So then what was your favorite thing about voicing Songbird?
Just the discovery process, from start to finish, from the time I auditioned to the time that I booked, from booking, again, booked it not knowing what the project was. I had to take the job not knowing what the game was, how big my character was, none of it. So I feel like the entire journey of voicing Songbird has been this like big discovery process of what the game is, like what the game is like, all these other characters, the world, who my co-stars were. Like, truthfully, I didn't know Idris Elba was my co-star until multiple sessions in. I just like knew that there are
Wow.
these characters. I knew that there was like Solomon Reed, and it was, all of it was really cool to me, but I didn't know who was voicing it till I guess CDPR just really wants to like keep me focused on the job. That was like, the whole discovery was really cool. And then so every point I felt like I was getting to know who Songbird was. I get very, I'm getting tidbits and like a vague description. And as I'm doing the character, I'm just getting more immersed into her world, her objectives, like her flaws and like everything, her strengths, and getting to know her genuinely was really fun because I just came in such a blank slate. I didn't know anything.
When you said that you didn't even know that Idris Elba was your co-star, when did you find out? Like, did you finally do some scenes with him on Zoom?
Yeah, so I actually never got to. This is the saddest part of like this journey is that I didn't get to record directly with any of the actors, like Jeremy, like Gavin and Keanu and Idris. Like all of them are so talented, and I didn't get to record with any of them. It was really piecemeal, and just kind of witnessing the whole process was really crazy because you're kind of I'm in a again just in a room in a booth with a voice. Director and a microphone and getting the parameters of like what scene we're in. And so I kind of have to use my imagination, which is fun. But over time, that like at the beginning, it was all kind of being fed lines from the director, which was amazing. Pierce, you're a great, stand-in voice actor. But after that, as everybody's doing their respective recordings, little by little, I started to hear everybody else, like the actual actors and their characters giving me the line before. And like, that's when it started to get really cool. So it wasn't, again, like, many, many sessions, but several sessions in when I actually learned that who was playing Solomon Reed. And then many sessions after that to actually hear his voice in my headphones. And that was wild. Like I got full body chills. I didn't know how to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I definitely think I would have freaked out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a complete existential crisis of like, where am I? How is this happening?
That's so fun. Okay, so I'm very curious because we're both Korean and we're obviously not strangers to our culture being appropriated. So how do you feel about the overall genre of cyberpunk that's been known for borrowing a lot from Asian culture, but without actual Asian people within the world a lot of the time?
The funny thing is, like me as Minji, as a person, I've actually been really involved in Asian American representation in media. So for me to now be kind of living this role and living a significant shift in terms of representation and having an authentic Korean American voice behind a Korean American character and having a Korean American character be so, critical to the entire storyline of this expansion. It's really mind blowing. It's a big responsibility. I think it's a really great thing to be celebrated, specifically because again, my career, like last 15 years, I've been really involved in the nuances of Asian representation and like how it feels and how to articulate that feeling of having your culture appropriated. And a lot of times unintentionally, but it still kind of doesn't change that it is. And, it's on one hand, to be gracious, I think it's cool to have people so interested in Asian culture and to like have that fascination with it, be inspired by it. I think there's a lot to be appreciated there. And also there's room to be, really frank and like discuss and have critical analysis on like, is that the best way to go about it? For example, I believe there's an authenticity that I can bring to Somi versus someone who's not Korean American. You can make Somi different, like change her name or make her not Korean American. But I think there's a truth and like an honesty that comes from pairing not only like an inspired character, but bringing like a true person who's lived that experience into that role. I'm not a fan of the appropriating. I don't think that it's something that I celebrate. I try to understand it and try to give people benefit of the doubt. However, I think that we're at a place in time where we can have these conversations. They're very nuanced conversations. Hi, Kitty. But and kind of be more intentional because I'm a believer because I'm also a writer director like fledgling and I've been acting for a long time. I think the project benefits from authenticity. I think having, consultants and having people that have the lived experience, like having them in those roles, having them in the room to help advise and like build and voice and even, write and help with story, all that benefits the project. Like I'm a big advocate of those collaborative elements and that seeking of truth. Will only help your storyline. It'll only help the performance. It'll only help pronunciations and like all these things. Like it just brings a level of truth and like, I don't know, integrity to something that I think makes it a bigger draw to audiences. So that's my spiel on it. Very more nuanced spiel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that very detailed take. I really loved that. I loved everything you had to say. But so you were talking about this, how you were getting thrown into this role and you didn't really know anything about it. But what was it like once you did figure out that your character had such a prominent role in the story?
When I came in, I was asking about scheduling. I was really concerned, and they asked for all this availability, and I wondered, do I have to come in every day, because I'm just trying to gauge how prominent is my character. I didn't know if I was 2 lines, but they're like, no, we need you here like a lot. And these data points were like helping me figure out like, oh, so she's really significant. And so I think maybe our second session, I was asking, am I a really major character? Because they alluded to that the first session, but it just didn't click. And then when I learned the first session that it was Cyberpunk, and I Googled it and I was doing my research, I was like, it was really sinking in what a responsibility this is to me, to like do right by a character that is in a world that's really beloved, even if I don't know it.
So since the DLC, since the expansion is out, have you seen anything on it? Have you watched other people play through it?
Watching everybody else play it and having reactions to it was super surreal. It was really fun. Yeah. And then there were also these like spoilers that were put up online really quickly, which I was shocked at. But it gave me the ability like watch what happens. And because I'd been recording all of this kind of like separate from everybody, and there's so many different choices, right? So I wanted to see like, how does this play out? And so it was really cool to see that.
So obviously you remember certain lines because you mentioned spoilers. So, okay, let's see. This is gonna be really hard, but without spoiling, do you have an ending that's your favorite?
I don't know if I could say that without spoiling.
I know, it's so hard. Okay. How about, would you want a Songbird spinoff?
I would love that. I would love to see where else this can go and get to know her more. I know, there's so much mystery in all the characters, right? And that's what I think is so cool about how CDPR writes this whole narrative. It's really intriguing. Like, for someone like me who's not necessarily like initially drawn to that kind of universe, it was really captivating just to kind of understand. And they really that's what made me engrossed in the role, was they really care about the world building. It's not just like we're trying to get from point A to point B. They have a lot of really deep themes that they're covering, questioning the truth. Who can you trust? Making hard choices and having to deal with that, and like doing the best you can with the information you have at the moment. I mean, that's every person, right? Like we've been living through crazy times. And so it really resonated with me. That's what made me like, there's 2 endings that I really, really liked more than others, just because of what it left with me. Like I wasn't even anticipating the range of emotions, because again, you're just going through these different interactions, and at each point it's changing you. It's making you question things, or like making you change your mind, or, be scared, or like feel loyalty, or like whatever. And it takes you on such a journey. And then so when you arrive at these various endings, you're just like, how did I get here? It's how I felt at the beginning when I booked this role. It's like, how did I end up here? And what do I do now? That resonant feeling, like that emotional impact, was like really crazy to me. So I cannot spoil it. I don't want to ruin, because I just know that they're really powerful. But I really appreciate any piece of art that makes you think. It makes you think and feel deeply. I think then you've succeeded. It doesn't always feel good, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that Cyberpunk is trying to make a live action media.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you could, would you act as Songbird in that?
Hell yeah. In a heartbeat.
I was going to say, then you could finally meet your co-stars in person.
I would be very, very happy to. I can imagine a live action one being very physically taxing. So I might need a trainer, but we can work that out. I'm always up for a challenge.
Yeah, actually. So with the live action, and even if you decided to direct like a short film of you as Songbird, that'd be really cool. But I was going to ask you if you wanted to cosplay her, but I realized that she just is so chromed out. I don't know how you would do that. How did you feel about her design, with her being just pretty much more machine than human?
I'm not the girl that's like, in the cosplay, gaming, anime world. A lot of my friends are, and I think I get to kind of like by proxy experience that world, and they go to Comic-Con, they go to all these crazy things, and it's really cool. But I've never been like particularly interested till now, where now I'm like understanding even the terminology, saying like chromed out and understanding what that means. And when I got to know her character and when they showed her to me, I was like, my brain was melting. I was like, never in a million years would I imagine I'd be playing someone like this. And then to see, okay, and then what for me as Minji, like deeply philosophically examining, because we're in an age of technology. I'm a Silicon Valley baby. I grew up in the Bay Area. So I've always been very familiar with tech. I'm interested in tech. I worked in tech for a little bit, and my friends all do, and with AI and with everything, this is a big reality that I've been familiar with for a long time, or not long time, but maybe longer. And it just makes me question these like deep philosophical questions. Like, yeah, if this is our future in some form, or what is truly human, and what are we doing to humanity if, we turn a person and weaponize their brain or whatever, like that's the stuff that I'm so like immersed in now, that I love. That again, it was so unexpected. But yeah, seeing her and having ideas for cosplay and having ideas for like dressing up as her, it's exciting. Again, it's just another world, another character that's really special and unique, and I'm all for it. So have I been researching things and looking things up and spending a lot of time on Pinterest and Reddit? Yes, I have.
Since you're so well immersed with like the new tech that's been coming out, would you ever, if say we were in the age of, the cyberpunk era, would you actually would you have so many cyber implants put into you as Songbird does?
Wow, what a question. I think there'd be a part of me that'd be really curious and would be just kind of fascinated by the capabilities that would provide. There'd be part of me that's really, but it's like the concept of opening Pandora's box, right? Because I'm a really big, like proponent of the human soul. You can't replace that. And that's the kind of like the philosophical dilemma with AI. It is incredibly intelligent and powerful, but is there something more sacred and beautiful about the flawed unintelligence at times of the human condition, about the, our ability to have our logic, compromised by our emotions, and like that part, I think, because I have such a like devotion to that and fascination with that, probably not. But I would definitely be curious, and who knows, like, once you play with fire, I don't know, like you just, it's all like throw caution to the wind and go all in. I don't know. It could happen.
Yeah.
Would you?
Okay, that's fair. No way. Well, okay. Maybe like eyes, just because I want to be able to see without glasses or contacts, but we have LASIK. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that didn't exist before, right? And that's a technological advancement. So I don't even, so when you ask me that question, I actually like wonder what technically falls under that category. Is it mean like hardware specifically, or is it, you know what I mean? Or like technological enhancements? Because that, like you just said, that exists already.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't want webcam for eyes. Okay, so that's where I draw the line.
Yeah. Fair. And I have actually challenge to authority a lot. So having somebody have kind of override capabilities in any capacity of my being, that would probably be really problematic to me. I wouldn't be happy with that.
Absolutely. There's just like you said, it's opening Pandora's box. There's just so much that could go wrong. And yeah. All right. Well, Minji, thank you so much for speaking with me today. Thank you so much for all of your insight on Phantom Liberty.
Thank you. This was so much fun. I hope everyone's enjoying the game, and they're like emotionally prepared. I wasn't, so like I'm with all of you guys, and it's been such a joy.
Yeah, I really do not want the expansion to end, but you know what? I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone. So if you want more Phantom Liberty info, go ahead and check out our guides at IGN.com. And as always, be sure to stay right here at IGN for all of your cyberpunk news.